We're live.
I think this might be the last week that we're joined by Error 2002.
Yeah, they stopped selling.
Yeah, I
They
guess that's a
stopped.
news thing we should probably talk about. We
Yeah,
didn't even put that on the docket. Let me add that real
yeah,
quick. Uh,
yeah. Well, that was one of the couple of things I was going to ask you about
yeah.
uh, later on.
Oh, that. Well, I've only ran into the error like once this week, so I guess it can go. Although if I run into it again this week, it can stay for next week. If it happens again this week.
I think you'll still have it. Um, I, I think you'll still do it a little bit, just not as much. And
Yeah,
then of course into the next year, I think it'll clear up and get better.
I think so too.
Mm. Right. Pre-show,
What
pre-show.
we just sent out the podcast notification out.
Excellent, excellent.
Reminder.
All right,
Go. I
all
was
right,
about
all
to
right.
very weirdly link it in the chat for the Twitch, like the Twitch link, like you needed that
Yes.
there.
That would
Um,
be a recursive link. That'd be kind of.
is that what they
And
call it when Link from Legend of Zelda tries to write? I dropped the joke halfway through because I thought it was dumb.
Ugh.
I should tell everybody right now I am sick. I have a fever, but I'm okay. I'm
You
taking some
survived.
medicine. So if I'm a little bit more loopy than usual, then hey, that's the medication talking. It's just a low grade fever thing.
Yeah, right. Mm,
Life continues apace.
right. Not much you can do about it.
Right. Just will my body to stop getting sick.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks being immunocompromised. I don't mean to just turn this podcast into that, but just if you didn't
Yeah.
know, it sucks.
Yeah. Ooh. Ah.
You get everything. Uh,
Mm.
life is yeah, that's true. Definitely true. Uh, yeah,
Well, yeah, and what you're talking to Peter Pan, and it's time for him to get you off his island.
that's true. That's true. What about a lich? I bet a lich would disagree.
Ooh, probably, yeah. I don't know.
Unlife is probably better for him.
I guess so. Yeah, yeah. They
Although
kind of,
isn't that still a form of living?
yeah, I guess.
We're getting deep and
I,
philosophical here about
I
liches.
just, I don't know. It doesn't seem like they have taste buds or anything. It just doesn't seem like it'd be worth it.
It's somebody
Yeah.
that has spent most of the year unable to taste most foods he likes. Yeah,
See,
there's some
exactly.
moments where it definitely
Yeah.
wasn't worth it.
Right, and that's and in the whole structure of that form, that's a very minor thing, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, no, they they can have it.
yeah, I agree. It is nice that I'm finally able to start tasting things.
Hmm.
More and more lately, I'll go to eat something and be like, oh, I kind of like this. And they go, oh, well, that's
Flavor,
nice. Oh,
flavor.
man, I want to leverage that now. Like, as run a lich and just have like one of the things that the lich is upset about is like, yeah, I can't see.
Yeah,
Be,
right.
be
Like
interesting.
this, the drawbacks they didn't think about when he or she was taking charging towards unlimited power, working with the darkness.
Yeah. Hey, hey, Artak, how's it going? I cannot taste bacon.
Yet,
That is still it'll come back. That is still
yeah,
one of my big ones. I'm like, I eat the bacon and I feel the crispness, and my brain goes, "This tastes great," and you know it, and then
yeah,
you go, "With the lich for
yeah,
sure, you can't taste bacon."
yeah. Right. That's a good point
Yeah,
right there.
Rungren,
No.
Rungren. How many books or comic books are gonna have a villain that got the disease that can't be named for demonetization value,
Oh yeah.
and that is their motivation is they can't taste anything anymore?
Hopefully none.
That's coming for sure, right?
Probably. Yeah. No,
Around
no.
those right?
It can't be that bad. Yeah.
I'm just saying, at some point you got
Oh.
Condiment Man, and then now it is now, yeah. Very nice. We got
Excellent.
maybe a couple more minutes of pre-show, and then we will roll into the podcast proper.
Excellent. Excellent. Look at that. A minute. Yeah. Was it? Yeah. It's only been just a couple minutes.
Yeah, we've been rolling, and having fun.
Yeah. I got it. I believe I'm set to go.
I am well now.
Some of that.
So, just a heads up for everybody, not a lot of news this week. As we mentioned last week, it's the end of the year. Not going to be a lot of news going out. So, we have some fun discussions. We have a little bit of news, but then we have what I think will be a pretty interesting discussion about gaming this year.
Yeah. Like I said, I got a question. A couple things I want to throw at you just because
Yeah,
I want to see your reaction. That's why I didn't get in touch with you on it beforehand, but
I'm
I want
excited.
to get a good reaction for it.
And if I wind up on
Yeah.
a weird rant about something,
Trademark, trademark, gaming, trademark,
get me.
trademark, trademark.
So I'm just saying, if we wind up on some weird rants at some point, that's the medicine talking.
Yeah, sure.
That's what I'm going to go with. You can't cancel me if it was the medication.
Yes.
You absolutely still can.
Yeah.
All
So,
right. Well, what do you think? Should we roll into the main show?
yeah, you're flirting with the political, so you might want
Yeah, it'd probably be better to
to
go ahead.
answer good stuff. Yeah.
I wore my dad shirt so I could get away with it. This is like if you go to the family get together for holidays.
Yeah.
You got to expect the guy in the floral shirt's the one that's talking politics, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Full Spectrum Podcast. This is episode 231 of
All
the
right, then.
podcast. The second to last episode in 2021. My name is Trey.
I am Rungren.
And we got some fun stuff to talk about. But as always, we'll start off with weeks. So, Rungren, how's your week been?
Not bad. We're still moving some stuff around, getting stuff cleaned up in the house, but it's going well. Stuff going in the house is going well. Trying to get some stuff moved around. You can see we're doing more of this, getting this studio so we can present better and sound better. Each
Like it.
each we can do it, keep building up, like make it more interesting for the people that come, watch or if it's make sure it's try to do our best to make it sound good for people to listen. So actually,
Right.
that's been what I've been doing this week. I've actually moved the stuff that you can't see right now has been moved around. That's kind of behind the camera, so to,
Yeah.
speak. That's where my week's been through here, doing that. I have I got to check out the Escape just a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting game. I know that one's an older one, but it was on the Xbox Game Pass,
Yeah.
so I did get to check that out. I'll need to go back and really be able to dig into it. The can you the but unfortunately, there's been a lot of Fortnite going on in the house.
Yeah.
I've had nothing to do with it. I just want you to know.
Yeah.
But some the parasite things in there, they enjoy it, and so then I can use it as a bargaining tool
Yeah.
in a form of punishment and take it away.
The Fort Court.
Yes.
Yeah, I've had a child that has been wanting to play Fortnite with me for quite a while in the form of one of my cousins,
Yeah.
and I've been deferring, but I don't know how long I can defer for.
hopefully until they get through puberty and no longer like it. I can.
Right.
This
Maybe
part.
so.
Oh man.
They did just put a new Spider-Man skin in there, where Spider-Man can just have an AK now, and it just feels really weird to see. It reminds me a lot of Spider-Man, the
Yeah.
Tokusatsu version. Where he just got a gun.
Um. Yeah. I walked by and saw because you can get they look like gauntlets you can get for your character to do the Spider-Man like web slinging thing.
Right.
And it did look pretty good. But it wasn't. I don't think I saw anybody in the full suit. I think I saw Deadpool,
Nice.
but I didn't see Spider Man when I was walking by. But yeah,
There's a part of
somebody
me
went
that
by with those.
there's a part of me that wishes that I had downloaded it and got the Kakashi skin from Naruto. It's like now, even if I did download it to play with my cousin, I can't use Kakashi. I can't get that skin. It's gone.
Yeah,
And like that's the biggest issue I have with Fortnite. I didn't mean to turn this into a Fortnite rant, but like
that's all right.
the fear of missing out. It's a big thing, and Fortnite is that. It is missing out the game.
Yeah, they do that, and then you've got then to help you catch up just a little bit. They've got the store,
Yeah,
which are basically microtransactions,
yeah,
right? And that it's not you know just them, obviously.
right,
That's the way a lot of games are run. It's a business model. And if you get as many people playing it as they do, I can't say anything.
for sure. They're
You,
making
you
bank.
know, yeah. And like I said, it's even though I don't like the game, their players are getting new content a lot, even if they don't pay.
Yeah,
So I don't know. It is what it is. I realize. Anyway,
I think that
but
every game should let you play as Kakashi. That's all I'm saying. Problem solved.
right. Um, I do have. I got the PlayStation 4 set up.
Yeah,
Gonna watch. I haven't seen Free Guy, so that's coming. I'm gonna watch that. Is that it? Free Guy
yeah,
with Ryan Reynolds. Yes. So after the podcast, I've got to go watch that.
nice.
Um, but yeah, I got PlayStation 4 set up and the games in there that I borrowed
Hmm.
from you. So really, it's getting to the end of year. It's like I'm trying to get stuff finished. We
Right,
all are, trying to get stuff finished. So it's not
hmm
like I haven't done anything but get ready to do stuff.
right, absolutely.
So hopefully here in a couple of weeks I can tell you the stuff I did.
Yeah,
Won't be telling you what I'm getting ready to do.
right.
It'll be good. So that's basically been it. Is walking by and see Fortnite getting played mostly while we're moving and cleaning up stuff, getting,
Yeah.
getting the house redone. Um, with it. How has your week been, sir?
My week's been a lot of setup in a lot of ways too. Still
Yeah.
been cleaning up the house, trying to get everything situated and sorted. Like we said, we got big plans for next year. I've got a bunch of stuff I want to shoot that requires the house to be clean,
Yeah.
and so trying to get that done.
Yeah.
Then I got sick, had a rough day Sunday, had to be driven home, and it hasn't gotten much better since. But the fever is less than it was, so that's good.
That
And
is good.
the chills are come and go, the headaches come and go. I don't think it is the thing we can't say, because I've had that, and it doesn't feel like that. But it just it's I'm sick again.
Yeah.
It's me. The red
Yeah.
light of death, not so far, thankfully. Um, but yeah, that's been a lot of it. And then I've been trying to do Endwalker around that. Still trying to work my way through there. Um,
Mm.
just I'm working my way through. I beat the level 83 dungeon, level 81 dungeon, level 81 dungeon, and that has gone up on the channel already. I went and watched Spider Man before I got sick, not after. I didn't go to a movie theater with a fever. To clarify for
Right.
anybody that might panic, went and watched Spider Man
No.
No Way Home, and
And that's hold on. You went opening night.
yeah, opening night.
Okay. Now I know.
That's probably why I got sick.
Hold on. Over that weekend, do you realize that 7 million people went to see that movie just at the AMC theaters?
Wow, that's nuts,
That is absolutely nuts. That's just at AMC. That's not
yeah,
counting, Cinemark and
man.
some of the other ones out there. Yeah, and it just, I don't think movie theaters are going away. I don't think
Right,
they're going to be able to
yeah,
run as consistent as they used to,
yeah,
but I think people are gonna go see movies. And yeah, dude, you were one of I haven't made it. I haven't got to go see it yet 'cause different things. But
Right.
yeah, it's amazing that you were one of 7 million people. And y'all went over that weekend. There was over. It was well, obviously it was well over 1 million the first night,
Right.
and then it beat that. You went and helped set a record the first night that got broke the next night that got broke the next night.
It's so crazy to me too, because like you mentioned it, and this is a thing I'm gonna give you props here, because you deserve them. You mention a great thing at the end of every podcast about how everybody's important, but so often we look at those numbers and we go, well, it's just a number, right? But you're absolutely right. I was one of that number.
Yeah,
It's such a cool feeling.
yeah, dude.
Also,
And
that movie's really good.
and see, that's another thing. It's like 7 million people want to see it, and majority of them love it.
Yeah,
You know,
they're.
it's a good time.
I won't talk
Yeah,
about
yeah.
anything specific because you haven't seen it yet.
Thank you.
But if you're curious, my thoughts on that movie, the review is up on the channel already. So please go check that out. I very much enjoyed No Way Home.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. I got a before. This kind of ties into your week because you are such a fan of Final Fantasy 14.
Right.
Now, I cannot buy Final Fantasy 14 right now.
Yes. Let's talk about this.
Okay, and this is like I said, I don't play the game, but man, a company goes, no, we're going to stop making money
Yes.
until we can make sure people.
And it's
That's
worked.
awesome.
It honestly has worked. The
Yeah,
queues are way shorter.
Yeah, yeah. I really hope they can get their hardware in, man.
Yeah, me too. Because it is. I went from getting 4,000 plus queues a day, even when trying to log in early hours, to getting
Yeah.
like 60 people in a queue, 23 people in a queue. It's like it is insane how much it has helped. And they've also just put out a quick patch, 6.01, which has the new raid tier. And in that patch, they buffed the XP that people get in the new areas in an attempt to try and help move people through those areas faster. So that there will be the people that just play to do raids can get to level, raid, and stop. So that it will be easier for more people to get in, which is insane to me because that's not the thing that you see in an MMO. They do the opposite normally.
Yeah.
They want you to
Yeah.
play more.
Yeah. I don't know. I've just been impressed. The only complaint I've heard about the man is, I wish he wouldn't smoke.
Yeah,
I'm scared.
exactly. Exactly. We got
I was like,
Soken.
let the man have his cigarettes. 'Cause-
We got Soken in the hospital writing more music and getting them to bring keyboards into his hospital bed so he can make
Yeah.
more music for the game. It's like, look, man, I love you, but like, please. Oh yeah, no, it's made a big difference. I'm having to be very careful now where I talk about 14 because there are spoilers everywhere now.
Yeah.
But
Well,
because so many people have already gotten to beat the story. But
Yeah. Well, you got just in general, you said it's been a major improvement.
yeah,
It does cut a lot of people out of the game, unfortunately,
it
but
does.
it's just yeah, it's an impressive move because it's like, hey, we're successful.
Absolutely.
Right now we're suffering from being successful.
Mhm.
So let's make sure the people that have spent a long time here, the loyalists,
Yeah.
that have come and stayed, get the best experience. And
That's right.
I think it's awesome.
I think the memes are also really funny. Of like how the meme was always, "Will you like this? Well, try Final Fantasy 14, the free to play MMO through the first expansion, Heaven's Word." And the meme is just like, "Don't try Final Fantasy 14, the not free to play game that is currently not giving you free expansion to Heaven's Word." It's really funny.
It is, and
He
it's a
does
good
right.
problem to have. But see, I believe that the designers and the people that are dedicated behind that game,
Mhm.
that money is going to come in, and they're dedicated to that the money that's coming in is going to make the game worth it, or
That's
they're
right.
going to do what they can to get it worth it.
That's right.
So
And I don't think people realize how much of a sacrifice it is to give up the dev servers. Like half the dev servers are gone so that
Yeah.
people can play. And that means that they're having to work with congestion in the office on the dev servers to try and get everything done. And so they're having to work longer hours and they're having to stay in there more. And,
Yeah.
it's the things that people don't even notice or think about where it's
Mm.
like, well, yeah, I just want to be able to play. Well, it's like, yeah, but now that you get to play, it is on the backs of these people that are working very hard. So please appreciate what's going on. And please, it's a message to you out there. If you are one of those people that AFKs and has like set up a macro that makes it where you can keep playing, or set up a dance macro that makes it where you shift just enough that the AFK timer doesn't catch you, look, I know you want to be in the game, but if you got to be gone for more than 30 minutes, I know you don't want to sit in that queue. Please understand, everybody else just wants to play too.
Yeah. Take a lunch.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, that 30-minute timer is a pain. I'm trying to do laundry. I'm trying to clean the house. I'm trying to take care of everything. I got to clean myself, obviously. And I'm having to do everything in like 20-minute chunks so I can make sure I get back in time.
Right. Right. And like I said, if, if they do it right, it's going to be a good problem to have. It's just
Right.
like I said, I got faith. I think they're going to come through. I think they're going to be able to build and develop the servers that they need to
Yes.
uh, over the next few months. And I think it'll calm down a little bit.
I think so too.
But one, I'm just happy. I'm happy for MMOs just in general because
Yeah,
of this.
for sure.
Because because one, look, it's making money, so that's going to make people go, oh, hey,
Mm-hmm.
maybe.
Yeah, because New
Yeah.
World was a problem. New World kind of like New World had, hey, here's a big studio that has a lot of money. They're gonna make MMO and they're gonna make people go, hey, we can make more MMOs, and then
The Yeah, I have that was on a little list I was going to ask you about
oh
uh here in a little bit. Yeah, New World was one of the ones on there, which is that's a big studio. It's
yeah,
Amazon, right?
absolutely,
Yeah, so it's yes, it has to be brought up almost.
yeah. So I had one more thing for my week, and then we can move on.
All right.
Uh, Around everything else, I have been watching in bursts the Netflix series Hellbound, which is it's made by the creator of Train to Busan, which is one of my favorite
Oh,
movies ever made.
yeah.
Set in Korea, and it's basically, hey, whether it's actually from God or not, don't know yet. But hey, and I'm not saying how many episodes I'm in, so it doesn't spoil anything for anybody. But in this series, the basic setup is an angel shows up and tells you when you're gonna die, and then three angels, demons, hard to say, show up and beat the ever living crud out of you, and then burn you to death because you're being tormented before you're being sent to hell. And what's interesting is not the dynamic of the hey, here they come to get you. It's the way it makes everybody around the situation react. What are the social ramifications of this, what is apparently God's punishment or sin on this world that everybody now has to react to because it's everywhere. It's on television, it's on YouTube. And
Yeah.
it's really interesting writing wise so far. I like it a lot. Not very far in, but I'm enjoying it.
Right on. Right on. That's on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
You said they're running Hellbound on Netflix. All right.
Something to think about if you're looking for a new Netflix show. But that's been my week. We don't have any reviews this week, and we don't have any game releases, but we do have a little bit of news.
Yes.
Let's
Yes,
talk
yes, we
about
do.
UE5 and this Matrix demo.
Okay. Now you've seen the demo?
Mm-hmm.
Have you done any background on some of the things that are going on about how it does that?
A little bit, but not a lot. I figured since you
Yeah.
posted that originally, you were going to do a deep dive, which you did.
Well, I'm not going like Giga Nerd or nothing like that, but there's some really interesting technology. One, the Unreal Engine 5
Right.
is working with a few other things, right?
Yeah.
And one of them uh, I found actually is MetaHuman. That's the one that's
Right.
been used in for the characters, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The and there's that program by itself, and some of the images I've seen mixed with Blender. I say images. I mean, they're. It's not video,
Right.
but it's animation. I guess
Yeah.
it is. I mean, no way around it. It's animation. Is what it is. It just I stumbled with it because it's close.
Yes. And it doesn't
It's
proc
close.
Uncanny Valley the way that a lot of animation does. Uh,
Yeah.
the the
Yeah.
the NPCs, as it were, right,
Right.
move like people move without
Yeah.
being rotoscanned or copied in, which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah. There's the eye that like the eye movement
Mm,
along with it, and just it was just like natural. I don't know how to say it, natural movement.
right.
There's obviously, if you watch it close and you're going through these images going over again, you'll find somewhere that like the rendering doesn't quite catch up or
For
something
sure.
like that, and you get like that uh, uncanny valley where you're
Yeah.
saying, but it's it's like there's almost like a cognitive blank of where is this falling,
Hmm.
and your brain does feel a lot more comfortable with it falling on the photographic real side,
Yes.
but the one of the technologies that really kind of freaked me out, and it's called nanite.
Right.
Um, Now, all of us play games. We've seen polygons, and they make them smaller. And the smaller we can get them, the better they are. The
Hmm.
better the graphics, the cleaner they are. Um, but the more polygons there are, the harder it is to run.
Right.
Now, I think this is a case of software catching up to the hardware that's out there.
Yeah.
It's going to go back forth to where they're pushing the hardware as hard as possible, and work around it and try to do the best thing. I think the Xbox 360 in that generation, the PS two and three, right there, it's a
Mm,
perfect example of that. If you look at the games that came out at the beginning, polygon wise, to some of the graphics you got, gameplay graphics you got at the end of that
right. Absolutely.
generation, right? I think that might be in my mind one of the biggest jumps
Yeah.
going through. They have not quite, but almost done away with the limitation on how many polygons you can have.
Yeah.
And I try. I don't want to. I don't want to. It's unfair to smash any other games because
Yeah.
none of the other games
Absolutely.
work like this for this. But if you compare like the distance in it of cars, if you see a car far off in GTA 4, GTA 5,
Mm,
you know, as great as the graphics are in those games,
right.
I'm not knocking the graphics. The You follow it, you're going to lose it. It's going to de-render from 2D.
Yes.
Come in, and then when you get close to it, there'll be a 3D car, and it
Right.
won't be the same car. It's just
Yes.
kind of changed off. It's the trompe l'oeil, the fool the eye,
Yeah.
right? They use trickery there. But in that one, if you can see that car a little bit across town, and you
Mhm.
start zooming in on it, it stays with that car. It's
Right.
been rendered at that distance, and it's just they keep saying cinematic gaming.
Yeah. This is
Um,
that.
it's pretty close, man. It's really, really close. I don't think I'm a little untrustworthy
For sure.
because I want to see how it controls and gets on
Yeah.
it. But man,
Absolutely.
it is really close.
I need
And
to see if it chugs.
there's a couple of times in a demo I was watching where they were going really fast in a car at night, and it's going to sound like I'm tearing this apart, but this is not. There was a little bit of rendering problems with
Yeah.
reflection in the distance
Yeah.
that yeah,
Well,
it didn't look right, but
yeah.
yeah, and that was it turns out that was an acknowledged, thing by, the folks that make the Unreal Engine and
Right.
built up the, uh, the Matrix on through there.
I
So
think
there's
oh, go ahead.
go ahead. No, no, you go ahead because that's to me, it's crossing the uncanny valley. It's
Yes.
so close.
Yes. What blew me away about it was I watched that video that you posted, and if you want to see where stuff like that news for the podcast gets posted, you check out our Discord for as little as $1 a month on Patreon. But I checked out that video that you posted, and I saw the city, and I was like, man, this is a really good looking city. From a distance, it could be any city, but it looks good. And then I looked up a different video, and the city was different. because the city was procedurally generated for people that booted the demo. And my mind just started rolling because you don't get that level of detail in procedurally generated stuff. You just don't. I was blown away because like I play a lot of roguelikes, even though I say many times that's my least favorite genre. I play a lot of roguelikes because that's what comes out, you know.
Yeah.
And I play a lot of games with procedural generation. I love procedural generation. There's a lot of really cool stuff that happens with procedural generation, but it means
Yeah.
that you get the same tile sets and they cannot be super high quality. And then this was.
Did you see in the okay? They had the video. They have a section in the video in the demo where there's Neo and Trinity in the front seat,
Mm-hmm.
and they have another character in the back seat,
Right,
and they're talking. Now, Neo and Trinity were 3D rendered,
right.
and the person in the back seat was made with this, with metahuman,
Yeah, right.
with metahuman, and until they pointed out that that person was made, I was like, it didn't hit me.
Right.
Now, when my brain was triggered to it, I was kind of like, look, I guess I was like really, really looking for
Yeah.
stuff.
I could see a couple little moments.
Yeah,
There's a moment when the
and they're
character
so
looks
tiny.
down and you can see the chin stretch just a little. But
Yeah,
it's almost imperceptible. And if I didn't know to look for it, I wouldn't have noticed.
that's exactly my thing. It's amazing. I'm kind of oh, it's really kind of scary. It's almost to the point that I think the graphics are so good and so lifelike, and like this is what they're showing to us now
Yeah.
that we can mess with, and I'm sure soon. I think this is almost you're going to be getting into some real ethical questions
Yeah.
about people's images and looks and
Absolutely.
stuff like that. That's how powerful I think this is.
Well, we had the same stuff that happened with Bruce Lee and his likeness when it was digitized, you know, and
Yeah,
with movies. And I think we're going to get into that same question here. Yeah.
yeah. It's just,
What
whew,
constitutes a use of the actor when you can completely digitize them without their permission?
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
what's a homage and what's actually using their likeness without their say?
yeah. The there were some other interesting things about it, like the lumen light,
Yeah.
which side by side the reflections are unbelievable. Actually, seeing they're true reflections.
Right.
There's no other way I can put it. I saw, except for the speed where they're going real fast at night and off in the distance. I I didn't see any of the breaks in the reflections,
Right.
which is really weird to me because that is like in so many games, like playing on a PC
Yeah.
over the years, I
Yeah.
have turned that off.
Yeah.
One
Because it
because
never works.
it never works right, and it usually just bogs everything down.
Yep.
That and what's it like bloom filter
Yep.
sometimes. Just turn the bloom filter off, just crashes everything down. I don't know. This is to me, this is very exciting.
I agree.
Um, like I
I know
said,
some
there's
people go, well, hey, you guys have both said in the past, or they might go, you guys have both said in the past that graphics aren't the most important thing for you. They're still not, but I
no,
can
you still have
recognize
to
when
do the
something's
story.
pushing the pinnacle of what we've reached before. You know, just because I don't like graphics most doesn't mean I'm blind to this.
Yeah, no, this is a little this is beyond. I think this is bigger than gaming.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you've got Meta coming out from another company. That have changed their name. Um, so I don't know. Like I said, I think there's going to be a lot of ethical concerns about images, use of images,
Sure.
use of people, and things like that. Because like you said, you can. That's a very good likeness of Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
You know, in
But
that
it's
thing.
gonna happen. A studio is gonna be like, we really like this actor. We don't know how to reach out to him. Like a smaller studio that gets access to UE5, and they're gonna digitize them and put them in there. Be like, this is an homage, but that is that person's likeness. You know, you can't just
Yeah.
use that.
Well, look, there's not all actors and actresses, but there's some you go to, or their face is the one that you want to see.
Yeah,
You know. If I think about she was cast so well, if I think about Black Widow, I'm going to think about Scarlett Johansson, right?
absolutely.
And there's old movies of Robert De Niro
Yeah.
that there's no doubt that's Robert De Niro.
Yes,
That's what I want
absolutely.
there. So I don't
Good, bad,
know.
and the ugly. I'm thinking about Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, there's just these. iconic things that are and iconic people, iconic faces, images, so to speak.
Yeah.
It'll be really interesting over the next couple of years. I'm looking. I think in the next 2 years we're going to hit the first like exobyte systems, exobyte games
Yeah.
that are going to be talked about for the public.
Probably.
Oh,
Well,
that was a rant.
it was, but I think it was a really interesting discussion in a lot of ways, and it's one that I think too often people just go, "Man, graphic looks good," and move on and don't think about the ramifications of, "Hey, graphic has reached the point where we no longer have the uncanny valley as a problem
Yeah,
when it looks realistic." That is an issue in some ways that is hard to put into words, you know.
yeah.
But
Well, like I said, the images we saw, I'm taking them at their face value.
yeah,
The images that we saw, that those are not the old tricks of being pre-rendered, changing lighting and things like that. So it looks really, really good when they put it up on the big screen for everybody to
right.
see it, like a E3 or whatever. But that this is no, this is and like I've listened to some people that I trust their opinion, and they seem to say no that this is because I thought I didn't believe it at first,
Right.
but they said no, this is
It's all
what it
pre-rendered
is.
footage for sure.
Yeah,
And then I
and
saw a
it's
different demo that had a different city and went, "Oh,
yeah, really really interesting, dude. Uh, well, I could remember about that one all night. Um,
you know what
but
else is interesting?
what is that, sir?
Telltale is back." So back in 2019, you remember Telltale, right?
Yeah, they had the same game out in a whole bunch of different names. Not really, but
Yes. Yes.
same format. They kind of they did a they pulled an Assassin's Creed in my mind where they flooded the market with too many
Yep.
games, and I don't think they had they couldn't back it up like obviously was it Ubisoft? Assassin's
Yes, with
Creed.
Assassin's Creed.
Ubisoft, yeah, and it had the budget of Ubisoft. So
Right. Telltale, they struck gold with The Walking Dead, the video game. People loved it to the point where Telltale got licenses for The Wolf Among Us. They got licenses for Borderlands. They got licenses, kinds of stuff. And then, as it turns out, people kind of just really liked Wolf Among Us and Walking Dead Season 1. And as more stuff came out, people began to turn away from that style of video game Telltale was making. Where, I'm going to be very clear at this point that I think Telltale made a very interesting style of game, but that the only one I really liked was Walking Dead Season 1, and I liked it for the story, not for the gameplay. Because I actually find most of those games to be very boring the way they play because your choices don't matter. It'll pop up and tell you, hey, so and so will remember this, but realistically, your choices affect nothing in most of those games, which bothers me. I think you're going to give me a choice, make it matter, But I never want him to go under. I
Fallout
never
4.
was right. Yes, 100%. I was never hoping for their destruction, or anything like that.
No, no,
But unfortunately, Telltale fell apart in a lot of ways.
yeah,
Back in 2019, there was an announcement that Telltale was coming back. They were coming back, and they still had the license to Wolf Among Us. They still had the license to Batman, and they were going to be making some new projects as well, and didn't tell us anything else. But we still, to this day, don't know of that team how much is the old team and how much isn't. So then they put out this statement this week. At the end of 2019, we announced to the world that we were back under new management and a whole new studio. We're doing things different this time. Who are we? We're industry veterans, former members and fans of the original Telltale, honoring that legacy of great storytelling. So real quick, just to, hey, not the same Telltale. Don't keep your expectations tempered. We're using a new engine, Unreal, while sustainably developing whole seasons at once. Which is not the way that Telltale did things, but hey, maybe if they can make it, then they can make it. Who knows, right?
back up just one
Yes,
story,
please do. Yes,
procedurally generated.
yeah, that's probably what it's going to be because they're going to be using Unreal.
You use the Unreal Engine to build
Yeah.
you. You know, I somebody's going to have an overlay, right?
Yes.
It's going to make it to do that, and And if the storylines are good, it will work.
That's right. If they're not,
Yeah.
they go on to talk about how they're still making Wolf Among Us season 2. They're still making uh, the Batman series as well, and they're going into even more work on that. With the Shadows mode that they did, there's probably going to be a sequel to that, but they haven't announced it yet. Then they announced that they're making The Expanse a Telltale series, and that there will be more to come. They say they've done much in that time of the last 2 years and have so much more work ahead of them.
Okay.
But
Well, that's good. I wonder I don't know. They went through, there's bankruptcy laws are weird. I know they went through bankruptcy and they had, kind of wonder, I need to check into that a little bit more. I'm going to find out who, did somebody own them? Who bought them out?
yeah,
You know,
it also the response to their tweets is very interesting because people obviously have a lot of questions, and the official Telltale Games Twitter account is a little snarky in their responses in a way that makes me go, "Hey, that's a little unprofessional." Like there are some people that are just like, "Hey, can you make something original, not based on a pre-existing IP, something brand new?" And then their response is basically just like, well, if you look back, basically all our games are about injecting our style into a variety of IPs. But it's like, it's not your style. It's the previous Telltale style that you specifically said in your tweet. You're trying to follow that legacy. You don't then
yeah,
get to go, well, that's ours. We made those. Because you didn't.
right. Uh, I don't know, man. I definitely want more game studios out there. I want more independent thought in the games. I want, even for, even the studios I like or dislike, I still want a lot of them out there
Yeah,
pushing to make people think and work hard outside the box,
for sure.
try to make something original or at least be able to repackage in a way
Yeah,
that it has a new feel to it, which I think what Telltale did originally, right, with a few things, like, in the most blatant sense,
absolutely.
The Walking Dead, taking that, make it feel so. I don't know. I'm kind of where cookie cutter games
Yes.
is not it's not a new phenomenon. It's not going to go. It's been around since they've been games, and they'll be
Right.
there as long as we play them. So
I did some digging to see what the internet's take was on this.
okay,
And there were a lot of people that were excited, mostly because they love Wolf Among Us and want the second part of that.
yeah,
Wolf Among Us Season 2 is a big thing that's been brought up multiple times. A lot of memes about how people are going to go through college, have their own children, and see their children go through college before that comes out, since it was announced to be in production back in 2014, and then was announced to be in reproduction, pre-production back in
yeah.
2019, and still haven't heard anything.
No,
Uh,
that's a crutch name. Wait,
but
wait,
it is.
getting angry. They're getting angry throughout season two.
Yeah.
Go mention it somewhere.
But it seems like the vast majority of people are tentative to upset. And the main core that I see is, hey, we don't know how many people from the old Telltale are here, and it feels really weird for you to be claiming you made that stuff when you didn't. And we kind of don't like that,
Yeah,
which is where I'm at right now. There
yeah.
are people that are making the Weekend at Bernie's reference of like, yeah, this is Weekend at Bernie'sing Telltale. And it's like, hey,
Uh,
what can you do, I think the easy way to fix this is to go, hey, we're not the old Telltale, but we want to make games like they did. So we're trying to follow in that footstep. Instead of going,
yeah.
we are members of old Telltale and fans. Because that just makes me go, so you got one person from the staff?
Uh,
But obviously, I don't know. If somebody from New Telltale wants to get on here with us at some point, hey, that'd be great. Love
yeah,
to talk to you about your design decisions.
yeah. Because look, I'm a dummy. I don't want you to feel
Me too.
sorry for me. It's terminal. I will be a dummy till I die. There is no cure, but there is treatment, and
That's
I'm
right, it
willing to
is.
accept treatment. You know, and be educated
Yeah.
on what would make it different or what's going on.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Well, one more little piece of news for you, if you're ready.
Yes.
Okay. So, what do you know about NFTs? And don't say no effing thanks. That's kind of my view on it, but
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
All that I know about NFTs is the bad.
Oh, okay, that's good. So if I put the name Ubisoft,
Yeah. Yeah.
Ubisoft with NFTs,
Yeah. It's still bad. It's
how
worse.
comfortable do you feel now?
I'm more upset. Is Ubisoft going to get that monkey NFT put all over their studios and remind
Oh no,
everybody that
it's already
NFTs
gone.
don't work that way?
You put 600 hours into one of their games, you get a helmet with a serial number on it that will be original.
Oh,
Yeah. Look, Stalker tried to do this, okay?
yeah.
Their fan said no. They tried to justify it. Their fans let them know how I think about that they
Right.
what they think about that, and they said, "You know what? Stalker 2 will have no NFTs."
Good on.
Yeah. Ubisoft says, "Hey, we're going to put out more."
Of course.
He- Here's the thing. These are not NFTs,
Right.
and somebody needs to take them to task. I honestly I have no fish in the barrel, no stake,
Mm.
cards, chips in the game, cards in the game. The Because these are not NFTs. Because when if they shut down uh, the server that multiplayer game's on,
Yeah. It's gone.
it's gone.
Mm.
You can't sell it. You can't transfer it.
Yeah.
You know. Now here's the sad thing. Went and checked out a couple of the NFT sites where you can sell these, and
Right.
they have some up. Everything looks the same.
Of course.
The only thing they put on there is a serial number, and it's just absolutely disgusting. I mean, it really really is.
You know what we
And
called those before NFTs?
skins.
Personal items, personal cosmetics,
Uh, it's absolutely ridiculous.
unlockable.
Yeah, you get these for free. And look, well, the game has off my head was it. Nobody even likes the game that they put them in. There's thousands of them,
The
but like
minions, the rabbits.
no, no, it was their it was a shoot 'em up breakers. Yeah, okay, I can check it. Hold on, I had it up earlier.
Shooter, breaker,
Mm,
outbreaker, battle breaker,
I don't know.
backbreaker.
Ubisoft
Break.
Breakpoint.
Oh,
Yeah,
breakpoint. Right. Yeah.
yeah, that classic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Put 100 hours into that, you get a helmet with a serial number.
Put 100 hours into that. Somebody
No,
from
excuse
Ubisoft
me.
needs to come shake your hand.
No, excuse me. The helmet with the serial numbers was 600 hours
Oh,
in that game. 600 hours of playtime. And
I put 600 hours into Xenoblade Chronicles 2 by playthrough 2, and people thought I was insane. You know what you get
what?
for 600 hours in Xenoblade Chronicles 2? Nothing. Because even
Nothing?
the developers didn't think you'd play it that long. What are you doing? What's wrong with you?
Look, go touch grass.
That's right. That's right.
600 hours. It's just
You maniac.
I get. You know what? What balls?
Yeah.
How do you excuse me, excuse me. Coming through. Company with the big balls
That's
coming
right.
through. What's
We
that?
expect everybody to
With
play 600 hours of each of our games.
with our NFTs.
Uh,
Buy them peons.
that's pretty much what it is. Oh,
Golly.
Ubisoft, man. What happened to you?
I don't know.
Eve
And like,
Gilliam.
I know what it is, man. It's the production companies, right?
Yeah.
It's the money, which we need the money, but you need,
Yeah.
stop trying to get all the money. Let people be creative a little bit. because the developers, um, they don't understand it.
That's
They
right.
don't want they don't want to put NFTs
That's
in the
right.
game. They won't have to worry about that crap.
They just
It's an
want to make
ugly
games.
yes, it's an ugly situation. It's
Mhm.
absolutely ridiculous.
It is.
They gotta, but yeah, I want to say, get your thoughts on that and rant about it a little bit.
Oh, for sure. It's like I played 2 hours of Brink when Brink first came out. One of the worst games I've ever played in my life. I finished Brink, tried to take it back to GameStop, and GameStop said we're not accepting returns on Brink because so many people had brought it back. Brought it back home. It's still on the shelf back there. I played 2 hours of that. I deserve something for that. Definitely not an NFT. I deserve somebody to come to my house and apologize to me for releasing that game.
Yeah, oh, that's bad. That's bad, dude. I just, uh,
600
I,
hours.
I'm not putting. I, Lord of the Rings Online. It's probably I might have 600 hours. I know I got 600 hours in that.
Yeah,
It's playing it on and off for 14, 15 years. I don't know, a
right.
lot of years since it came out in 2007.
Yeah,
That so I probably did that. But goodness, and look, there has not there. Ubisoft doesn't have any
yeah,
game, and I like. There's quite a few of their games I like.
yeah.
I'm not putting 600 hours in.
Well, I think maybe you could get away with like 200 hours with like an Assassin's Creed if you're
I
just
can say
really
that.
into it, you know?
Yeah,
But like 600? Excuse me?
yeah.
Like I know I've put more than that in FF14, right? But FF14 is an MMO. I know, like I said, I put more than that in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but I completed that game, 100%ed it, and then did New Game Plus because I loved it so much. You know, that's on me to choose to do that. There's no reward for that because no one should ever expect that of anyone.
Just play 25 days straight.
There you go. There you go. It reminds
No.
me a lot of For Honor, also a Ubisoft game. When For Honor first came out, they expected you to be able to unlock everything. They expect you to play over 400 hours, and we thought that was bad then. You know?
Right. It's what look, if your game offers content for 600 hours
Yeah.
where you have me going, wow, for almost all 600 hours
Right.
and it's new and it's engaging. But if it's just a repetitive series of levels,
Yeah.
you know, that's no.
I agree. I agree.
That's
I'm trying to think of what game. I guess Dwarf Fortress maybe would be like it. Like what game could actually have new content versus? I guess Skyrim. I guess unironically Skyrim. I guess because it creates quests for you.
yeah. Well, there's stuff there because we talk about procedurally generated, so
Yeah.
the quest has been there,
Yeah.
even though maybe the tiling system for the things going different. But like back to the original Diablo,
For sure.
that's what
Yeah.
was so big. Every time you entered the dungeon, started a new game,
Yep.
it was different.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, and I
so
think with like Diablo 3, for instance, yeah, with the seasons for
the
sure.
season, yeah,
Diablo 3 with the seasons, you could put 600 hours into it for sure. You just gotta have new content coming out, you know, like
yeah,
MMOs.
yeah. It's like
Destiny
that's what I'm
2,
saying. Yes,
guarantee you people have put over 600 hours into Destiny, you know. But I feel like even the most die-hard Call of Duty fans probably stop playing around hour 400 because by then the next one's out.
yeah. Well, you pretty much have to dedicate one game. Getting that many hours, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And I know a lot of right. I know a lot of people that play one game heavily, but they play other games, and do other things in their life as well. It just seems ludicrous, absolutely egomaniacal. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree. Hey, you need to put 600 hours into this for us.
Yeah.
Well, there's more than 600 hours in a year. This is the worst segue I've ever done, but I'm sticking with it. And we've had a year, so let's talk 2021 in gaming.
All right.
That segue was terrible. Oh, we're stuck with it now.
All right. So I have a list here for you, sir.
Yes.
And this was back, um, just a list about 10 games that were seen as these are going to be, well, these are some of the biggest titles of the years that are going to be coming out over 2021, right? And I'm going to read some of these out to you
Okay.
and get your reaction because these were very excited by insiders and others coming into the year, right? Coming into this year.
Okay.
Well, the first one everybody was excited about Hitman 3.
Okay. Yes. Fun game. Lots of problems, but fun game. Dropped off completely. Nobody's talking about it anymore.
Okay. Another game that everybody seemed excited about, especially after the one that came before it, and tie in a little bit, was Resident Evil Village.
Yes, a very very good game.
Yeah,
Still has power today. You know.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Good way to put it. It does. The next one I'm going to ask you about, so everybody was so excited about because there's so much money behind it. It was going to be great. New experience was New World. Yeah.
Yeah, about that. Nobody's talking about New World anymore unless they're joking.
All right.
New
All
World,
right.
I will put it this way: New World built Josh Drive Hayes' channel from like a mid-tier YouTube channel. Don't be wrong; I think
Yeah.
his content's great, but like
Yeah.
nobody was talking about him. He didn't have lasting power on YouTube. He
Yeah.
went from like mid-tier YouTube to like a high-tier YouTube just off New World.
Yeah. That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. All right. Uh, a game back at the beginning of the year that was talked about, very excited too. Didn't have a lot coming out about it. Of course, a lot of these didn't when they were first kind of announced, right? Deathloop.
Yeah, a game that I still have no desire to play, but people really like.
Yeah, there seems to be a it is a love or meh
Yes,
game.
absolutely.
When I hear people talking about it, they're absolutely in love with it. Or it's like it's a good game, you know. But I don't hear anybody very critical of it.
Exactly.
I might dig too.
That's a very good positive in this day and age.
Yeah. So that will segue us into the next game that everybody was excited about coming out, Far Cry 6.
Yeah,
Did you just hiss inward when I
I
said that?
did. All I've heard is bad. It's all I've heard. I hear it's either you don't like it at all or you have fun despite it. Is where that's all I hear with Far Cry 6.
That yes, that was you have fun despite yes,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really sad because man, um, I'm gonna Mr. Esposito is
Yeah,
a phenomenal actor.
absolutely.
All right, another one that was looking forward to. Got a couple left here. Um, was Back for Blood.
Okay. Yeah. Did well. Came out to good reception. People
Mm-hmm.
like it. Didn't do as well as maybe it could have. Had some bugs that held it back. And it's talked well of, but I don't think it's like big. You know, I think it definitely hit its niche and that's where it's staying. It didn't Left 4 Dead like they expected it to.
Right, right. The okay, a few more.
Okay.
Another game that was talked about that was especially PC gamers were very very excited about. Age of Empires 4.
Okay, yeah. Haven't heard anything about it since launch. It's dead in the water as far as I know. Nobody's talking about it.
Um, I heard a couple of PC only, obviously,
Yeah,
that didn't like it, but yeah, nothing really didn't hit the splash that I thought it would.
right.
Uh, Running into the next one that was so excited about at the beginning of the year, and I got these two back to back, oh, kind of good. Um, Battlefield 2042.
That came out this year. Like I'm not trying to joke. It's just no one's talking about it. I watch a lot of gaming YouTube. No one's talking about it.
If they are, it is very poorly.
Yes.
Um, there's a couple of videos where they tear down the performance.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah.
But yes, okay. Um, Another one that was obviously very, very uh, um, look forward to back coming into this year was Halo Infinite.
Yeah, solid. It's I don't know if I'd say it's good, but it's solid. I think the multiplayer is very good. I think what really hurt it for me was the double launch. Having the multiplayer be free to play is great, but a lot of people don't even know the campaign's available yet. And it is. You can
Yeah.
play it right now, and they have no idea. And
Yeah.
then apparently the campaign is also pretty buggy. It launches you into other levels sometimes. You can't go back. I say levels, areas, because you can't. It's open world. You can't go
Yeah.
back to previously completed areas for if you missed anything. And also sometimes you load in and your guns just don't work.
Yeah. Now I know they've had a couple patches, but I don't know what's fixed at this
Right.
point through that. And the last one on this list, Ruined King.
Yeah, this is the League of Legends thing. And I think it might have hit harder if not for Arcade, which is the only thing I see that gets brought up when people talk about League right
Yes,
now.
going through that.
And that's literally again suffering from success, I guess, in that people see this and go, "Well, I'd rather talk about this thing that I think is really good instead." You know?
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's a thing when you put stuff together, you never, whether you're a stand-up comedian, a game developer, musician, or, you give speeches, you don't always know what's going to click with people and what
That's right.
hits.
That's right.
So, really, out of this list, which is a good list, this is a good list coming into the year of
For
what
sure.
people be excited about. Really, Resident Evil and Halo,
Yeah.
I think didn't quite stick the landing, but Resident Evil definitely did.
Yeah.
And coming into the year, I think that might be out of that list, that's would probably be the big winner if it
Big
was going to pick
standout.
one.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so too. I think there were other games that people were more excited for that just didn't come out. They got delayed again. I'm one of them. Really thought Breath of the Wild 2 was happening this year, and then it didn't.
yeah, no,
Did
it's
not only did it not happen, it didn't get brought up at all.
no, it did not. And s- small rumor is there should be some showcases after the year, and it is
Yeah,
slated to come out.
that's right.
Uh, you should how'd they put it? You be playing it before year end
Yeah,
after November, which is I don't know if that's because everybody releases games before November,
right.
if it's going to come out that year, or if there's some actual if it's on track to be out at that time.
Yeah.
But
Another big one, just real quick. Dying Light 2 was the one people were very excited for this holiday season, and it got delayed relatively recently out to
yeah,
2022. But yeah, I mean, other than that, in the year it was the stuff we're going to get into in a minute, which is the stuff that either came out early, came out and just didn't shock the world, or came out and wasn't good.
now you have that list there, yes?
Yes.
Onto that. All right.
And I want to immediately because I don't want to hit every game that came out because we'd be here forever.
Right.
But I want to immediately hit on the first game to release this year, 2021, which was in a lot of ways stand out for what the year was going to be like in video games. Which was the first of 3 Werewolf the Apocalypse games that were, I'm not going to say asset flip because the team did work on things. They made assets. But there's questionable whether they made those assets completely. These games are not good. They don't look good. They don't play good. There are 3 of them that came out rapidly. But it was Werewolf the Apocalypse Heart of the Forest that came out on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
That was the first release of the year.
Now that's the actual White Wolf title, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's yeah, man. Because
Uh,
that's White Wolf video games, man. Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf. That's that line.
yeah.
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 I played the tabletops. Never played the video games.
The first big release for the year was Hitman 3, which we've talked
Yeah.
about. Again, kind of came out, did well, but then didn't hammer it home, didn't make the landing, maybe. Didn't sell that
That's
landing
still
really
ready.
hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so kind of has faded. They're trying to do some Christmas stuff for next year or for this year, and some new content for next year that may help bring it back up again. But it didn't have the explosion of popularity that like Hitman 1 did for them
Yeah.
back in 2016. From there, we had a couple like smaller releases that were really popular in the first half of the year and kind of dropped off. Skull the Hero Slayer was a roguelike that came out of nowhere on Windows. Everybody loved it. It was all over Twitch. That game was really, really popular. And it had a great. The first 9 hours of that game were amazing. And then you've seen every skull. And the main core of that game that makes it amazing to me is gone. Because the fun stuff of, hey, what's the newest thing you're going to discover is gone. And it's just, hey, maybe you'll get a skull that actually is really good and strong, or maybe you won't. And that complete randomness defines your run. And so it kind of, fell off. And the other one is
Feeling
Cyber
that will be-
Shadow. Oh, go ahead,
I'll
sorry.
I have a feeling that will be coming up, Waverly.
Oh, we're going to talk about Balan. We're going to talk about Balan Wonderworld. Cyber Shadow was the other big one. This was one that people were really excited for because it was done up in the style of The Messenger, which took the world by storm back in 2020. Or no, 2019 was The Messenger. 2020 was The Messenger's DLC. Cyber Shadow was to be that kind of game, right? Yeah. And it was really popular, again, for the first half of the year, and then just kind of fell off. And I think that is because of what 2021 was like. In a lot of ways, 2021 in gaming for almost everybody was not playing the new 2021 games. It was going back and playing games in our backlog or comfort games or, stuff that we needed to help us get through the year.
Look, the only thing I did worthwhile was shrink my pile of shame, okay?
Because, not to get political, but before the first game had released in 2021, the Capitol building was being sieged. And so, 2021 came out of the gate swinging, and everybody was like, "Look, I just need to feel okay right now."
Oh man.
Oh. The next big release was The Medium, January 28th. People were looking forward to this game, and unfortunately, it just didn't grab anybody really.
No. I'm trying to think back. Actually, the gameplay issue.
Yeah.
If it's a game I'm thinking about, it doesn't look bad. So it was the gameplay, some kind of gameplay mechanic with it was catching a lot of flack. I'm not sure. I might be thinking about something else.
I think it was I could be wrong too, because again, it's been a long time since January 28th, but I'm pretty sure it was there's a button that lets you switch between the physical world and the spiritual world. And I'm pretty sure it was that, you could get yourself stuck and you'd have to, switch back to move out a little bit further. And then, because the walls weren't evenly aligned on each side.
Man.
Be really annoying.
Yeah. Yeah.
After that, the big next release was East 9 Monstrum Nox, which was a RPG that came out made by Falcom, the people who make Trails. People were very excited for the next East game. Well beloved RPG series, right? Problem is, it didn't run well on PS4. And so even though it was a really popular game, it probably should have been pushed back to PS5 because performance issues plagued it so much that it kind of drowned in February. And this was our first big February game, I should mention. It did a lot better once it eventually came to PC and the PS5 update was out, because then it actually runs. But
that helps. That really helps.
Yeah, but kind of unfortunate first big RPG of the year,
Yeah.
But after that, we got Little Nightmares 2, which unfortunately, again, didn't have the big splash that Little Nightmares 1 did.
Yeah, I think. Well, I'm kind of not surprised by that.
Yeah,
because the graphic style is really unique on the first one, right?
Absolutely.
And you get that look, and it's. I hate labels because it kind of just shrinks everything down. But it's kind of a puzzle game, yeah?
It is, yes, absolutely.
It was most of going through. So I don't know that the crowd that went, okay, it was new, would be as hungry for it for that style, because it almost seems like I'm betting it's the second one, it will be cult game status.
Right.
So it got picked up later on.
Absolutely. I think in a couple of years we'll see more people talking about it.
Yeah.
From there, the next big release was Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury.
Oh God, that came out this year?
Yeah, that was February 12th.
All right.
Mostly because that was our Mario game for this year,
Yeah.
and it had a little bit of sticking power at first, and then just like everything else what we've talked about so far, it kind of just fell off where the year was
Yeah.
up. I also
All
haven't
right.
got to play Little Nightmares 2 yet, but I do own it. I play it at some point. From there, it was kind of a jump before we got anything too crazy. But we got our Muso game for the year, which was Persona 5 Strikers on February 23rd, which is very good. However, for Muso fans, it's not just a Muso game, it's also a Persona game.
Right.
And for Persona fans, it's also a Muso game. So if you're like me and you love both, it's great. Persona 5 Strikers is so good. But if you just want to get into the action of a Muso game, it's like an hour before you get into a level. And if you just want to get Persona story, you're not going to be ready for the sudden change in gameplay, you know?
Yeah.
So,
It's not a smooth transition, is what you're saying.
exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
From there, Bravely Default 2 came out right at the end of February, February 26th. This was the big like Square Enix RPG for the year. And unfortunately didn't really hit for a lot of people. I myself dropped it. I did not finish it. Because I just didn't like the story at all. The characters are really fun, except for the main character, which is my biggest issue. The soundtrack is incredible. The gameplay is really solid, but just the main character just doesn't work for me, you know. And I'm not alone in that because the game fell off completely.
Yeah. When was that released?
That was February 26th for the Nintendo Switch. Bravely Default 2. Again, didn't even show up at the Game Awards, even though it was one of the big RPGs of the year.
Yeah.
So, you know. After that, we had Loop Hero was our big indie release for March. A game that kind of took the Twitch by storm. Very, very fun game. Not very long, which kind of helped it, I think, a lot.
Yeah.
You know? But I think that people really grabbed a hold to the fact that they could just play this for like 6 hours and be done with it. And it's really well made. It's got a really interesting style, very interesting game. It's on a lot of people's top 10 lists for the year, probably for that reason.
Nice. I mean, if you have a good enough story, the game doesn't have to be long.
That's right.
You know?
Same with the new release for Don't Starve. I don't love Don't Starve Together. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that. From there, March is a weird month because we get, and this is a game you're going to recognize, we get Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning. The second chance for this game that was originally going to be an MMO turned into a single-player game because an entire state's budget somehow got roped into this game. Literally. And it flopped horribly.
Yeah.
It didn't make it at all.
You know, make people long for the days of Two Worlds. I
mean, what the heck?
Look, I want to go back to Two Worlds and try to take on the taint.
But
how bad is it?
I know it sounds like all we've done is talk about bad games, right? But March 26th, Balan Wonderworld came out.
Oh, yes.
To almost universal hatred.
Almost, yeah.
It's got its very public defenders, but almost the entire internet gathered together to crush this game.
Yeah.
Well deservedly, in my opinion. My review's up on the channel if you want to hear my thoughts on Balan Wonderworld. I actually got a comment on that video this week that was just the intro alone tells me all I need to know about this game.
Yeah. There's a lot of questionable things in that game. I stand by my initial thing. The having a sliding difficulty on that changes based on the play is absolutely ridiculous.
Yep.
And that affects the jump thing.
Not being able to jump in a 3D platformer. It's so tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that game. That was March 26th that evil was unleashed onto the world. But it's also the day that we got some other big releases that people really enjoy. Still now. It Takes Two came out on March 26th.
That's cool. Okay,
Uh,
there's some balance there to balance.
yes, thank goodness. A game that a lot of people really love. I've been told one of the best co-op games in years. It is taking the gaming world by storm in a lot of ways. People are still playing it on Twitch now. It won big time at the Game Awards. It won Game of the Year. This game has had a lot of staying power, and it kind of came out of nowhere. We knew it was
Yeah.
coming, but we didn't think it was going to be. Look, not to be rude, Joseph Ferris. I love Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. A Way Out didn't do that great, so we kind of expected this to flop, and it did.
Yeah. Well,
Congrats.
one of the things that brothers did though,
Yeah,
what a unique way to use the controls,
absolutely.
single player wise, and once again, good story.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, that came out on the 26th, and so did Monster Hunter Rise, the best playing Monster Hunter game in years.
Yeah, that was very well. A lot of people. That's still yeah. That's
It's on
still
my
got
top 10.
that still got people playing it. Still got people getting excited about it.
Yes,
Still people putting out videos.
absolutely. And
So
new content expansion coming out for it next year. They're not
yeah,
slowing down at all. They're keeping that Monster Hunter train rolling. New
yeah,
updates and events coming out all the time. New event monsters. You can get Rush from Mega Man as a dog companion. Monster Hunter Rise is very good. Very, very glad that
I,
game exists.
that's cool, man. That's so. Wait. That's the February. They got DLC coming out in February. You say that's one of the February ones next year.
No, next year is summer is when the expansion's coming out.
Okay.
So it's coming, but it'll be a little bit later. And then to wrap up the month of March, we had kind of a weird release, but has kind of still been talked about. Evil Genius 2 World Domination is still a very popular simulation game. People really like that game.
Yeah. Well, see, there's a game. These games need to come out every once in a while that takes this POV.
Yes, give people a chance.
You know, um, and they usually do pretty well.
Yeah.
And there's some older versions of it that I know people really. Oh, what was there was one that made a part one, part two didn't do so well. They did part one on Xbox 360, and you had
Overlord?
Minion, Overlord. Yes,
Yeah.
if you remember when that came out, that had a lot of buzz. It
It did.
stayed, it stayed for a while, and that was in the magazines.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was print and paper. It stayed had a buzz in it for
Yep.
months. So good deal.
But that was
Right.
March. I didn't mean to cut you off there. I'm sorry.
No, it was just like I said that's some games have to come by and have that point of view, and if they do it well enough, it's gonna cause a buzz, and I like it.
Absolutely. April 1st, which
Oh.
is, of course, April Fool's Day,
Yes.
we got Outriders, a game that was so popular when it first came out, everybody was talking about it,
Yeah.
and is dead in the water now.
Yeah. But they were talking about it until they got to play through it.
Yes. Exactly.
So
That game is probably the biggest jump I've seen this year of, oh, this game's so good, to within a week. Yeah, I'm not playing it anymore,
yeah.
which is nuts. We also got Oddworld Soulstorm released, which
Yeah.
kind of just fell through the cracks.
Yeah. I don't know. I want to play this. I really do.
Yeah.
Because I've played Abe's Odyssey.
Hmm.
The old one, and it was I don't know, the graphics, everything, the world building, it was just nice. It was unique.
Yeah,
And I don't know. I think it's hard. It's one of those things hard to replicate.
it is.
Don't do that.
The big release for me, April 9th, The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 4 released on PC. Great game. Just to throw that out there. If you haven't seen my Trails reviews, maybe love that series enough that I own like 4 Trails shirts already. Played through all of those games this year when I was talking about comfort games earlier.
Yeah.
So that was a big one for me. But of course, it had already come out on consoles the year before. PC version is better, in my opinion. Mods. But, very, very, very good game. and definitely one that people were excited to get to play through again that had already played it with the PC version.
Hmm.
Then we kind of had a lull where it wasn't until April 23rd when Judgment and Near Replicant came out back to back. I'm sorry, Judgment, Judge Eyes is what I'm thinking of. Judgment being Lost Judgment, the second one, not this day. This was the PS5 version of Judgment. I'm sorry, that's later in the year.
Okay.
But Near Replicant came out, and people adore it. And then because it's a Near game, people stop talking about it because the only thing we can talk about now are spoilers, and we're not going to do that to you.
Yeah.
It happens every time with Nier.
Now, that one needed a quick patch, though, did it not? When it first hit.
I
See,
don't
may be wrong.
remember what you mean. So if you're talking about the title, that's on purpose. It's always been titled version 1.22.
No. Near. I'll check it out.
Okay.
I'll look it up. Go ahead.
Yeah. Nier Replicant is a remake of Nier Gestalt, the version that came out for PS3 and Xbox 360 back in the day. It is a remake to bring it up to the same standard as Nier Automata, but it also has some new stuff in it that I refuse to spoil here. A game that 100% would be high in my top 10 if I didn't just count it as a remake of a game that I already loved. Because of course I'm going to love Nier Replicant. I adore Nier Gestalt.
I apologize. It was the one. It wasn't that one. I can't keep up with all these games. It wasn't that one. It was the original one.
Yeah.
In 2017 had the crash that was unplayable.
Yes. They fixed that. They never fixed the fishing in the original one where you could not continue the story if you didn't catch that first fish.
Mm.
But they made this one, so just play this one instead.
Yes.
Very good game.
Yeah, wires got crossed in my mind. Sorry.
No, you're good. This game will not get recognized in a lot of outlets because it is a remake, which is unfortunate because I do think the new stuff they added is really good. But it probably won't get recognized in ours because it is still just a remake. It's a very good remake, but it is still a remake. I love Nier Replicant. So good. And then we got new Pokemon Snap and Returnal on the 30th. Back to back. Same day.
Oh, what do we do to deserve that?
I know. New Pokemon Snap, a game people were so excited for. And then people found out how you unlock new levels. And it's not by running the levels you already got. It's by running the levels you already got over and over and over again until you hit an arbitrary score to unlock the next one. That's why I didn't finish New Pokemon Snap. Because I love Pokemon Snap. I can play Pokemon Snap all day long. But I can't play the same course over and over again all day long.
It seems it's a lazy way to bring up replayability.
Yeah.
Because it's not meant to be like a stressful button mashing game. Yeah,
that's right.
Relaxing game. So there's not much
Pokemon.
Right. There's not much to it. So you really, if you're gonna have people go on the same levels again, it needs to be different somehow.
Yeah. They also added a story mode, which I think is fine, but it drags everything out a lot. When all I want to do is go take pictures of Pokemon.
Come on, man.
And so that one kind of has fallen off completely. It was a very big thing for a couple weeks and then just dropped.
Yeah.
But Returnal is a game that has continued to be pretty solid. People keep talking about it, which is a shame because then I have to see the name everywhere. But
I know.
But it's a thing people seem to like. I'm glad they do. It's not for me, but I'm glad people like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That leads us into May, which had one of the biggest releases of the year on the 7th, which is Resident Evil Village.
Yeah.
As we talked about earlier, absolutely had the staying power to not just stick around, but to have an effect, I think, in a lot of ways on what we're going to see from other RE likes in the future. We saw after RE7, people started going more towards the first-person view and more of the RE likes. And I think this one will sell it even more, not just on that, but on the, hey, maybe it's okay to just have a weird game with a weird story set in a weird place.
Well, I think there's I think Resident Evil used it very very well, but I think there's a this is a little residue from when Outlast
Yeah.
came out. Well, you don't have any weapons. It's first
Right.
person, and it's meant to scare the living crap out of you.
Hmm.
And just the setup and the movement in that game, obviously, it's kind of interesting because it's obvious they took stuff from the Resident Evil series. They were
Yes.
inspired
Yeah.
by that to make this,
Absolutely.
and then the way that they did it made it their own has leaked back into effectively,
Right.
and done well into the Resident Evil series. I just think
Yeah.
that's really cool. This kind of roundabout.
I think so too. I also think it's important to mention that Village is not just a good Resident Evil. It is absolutely in my upper top 10. To me, this is one of the best Resident Evils ever made. It is short, but it is sweet in a way that it encourages you to replay. As soon as you beat the story, you unlock the arcade mode, basically, where you can go back through the game again with bonus points and bonus objectives and different guns. You can unlock super OP guns if you just have a high enough score.
Yeah.
Speed running modes. They knew what they were doing, and they hit it out of the park.
Well, what's the website? How long does it take?
Yeah, how long to beat?
How long to beat? Thank you. The Resident Evil Village, I believe, is of course this is all users that are
Right.
voluntary to put this up, but it is a community,
Yes.
so it gives them that, and that was one of the games that was most replayed,
Yeah.
and I think it has what was it? What was it's like 9, 12 hours
I
first
beat
run
it in
through.
7 on my first playthrough.
Okay, so maybe it was 9 hours they
Yeah.
said for the
I
first
didn't do
playthrough, but yeah.
everything on the first playthrough because I missed a couple. There is stuff that's absolutely missable, and once you miss it, you cannot go back and get it.
Which I have
But
I do miss stuff in games because I don't know, I like to role play in the game.
yeah,
It's like this is it, people are dying.
yeah,
This is bad and you get this done.
well,
But
it's very good.
but
From there, we got some. Do you remember Hood Outlaws and Legends?
yes, I remember getting excited for it and then just kind of like not working.
Yeah, this was a game that a lot of people were like, "Man, that looks really cool." The non what's it called? I completely just lost my mind. The when the gameplay is like asynchronous multiplayer where everybody's not on the same team and there's NPCs in the middle and could be really cool, and then it flops so hard.
Yeah. The because I can't remember what channel. There's a couple different channels that they'd got a unlockable short little playable area.
Yeah,
And man, God, it looks so good.
yeah,
And what they could play seemed to work well and do. But yeah, yeah, they haven't got a Robin Hood game ever right. So
I agree. From there, we kind of had just like a little, rockiness for a little while there. The Subnautica expansion, or the expansion, the sequel came out, Below Zero. Very
yeah,
well received. I didn't touch it because I haven't beaten Subnautica 1, but people really seem to like it. If you're into that style game, more of that, go for it. But then it was kind of just nothing for a little while until kind of out of nowhere, you just have. it's still really just Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
comes out of nowhere swinging in June the 1st.
Which that game for people who love games, young, old, and everything, and like the history of games, that game has a lot of weight behind it.
Yeah, it really
Yeah,
does.
from that, so I'm not surprised. Yeah, I forgot about that. But yes,
I
yeah.
hate Ghosts and Goblins.
It's a hard game, man.
Oh, I can't stand it. It used to make me so mad.
And you
But
burn some tokens in the arcade
yep.
quick.
But I'm glad people have it, that want to play it. June 10th, we had both Chicory, A Colorful Tale, which is one of the bigger indie games that came out this year, is won a lot of awards already, and is very well made. It's not what you think it is when you look at it. Trust me. Um, it's very good. And Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, which is the upgraded version that has the Yuffie DLC and everything there. Kind of made a splash and then kind of just fell off.
There's some issues on the. I don't think it's on the. I don't think any console gamers had any problem with it.
The
There,
Epic, the PC version is bad.
yeah, and that's gonna hurt. That hurt. It did. I don't know
Yeah.
what the state of it is right now on PC, but I do know that was on the PC side of it. It was an ugly, ugly mess.
Yes. Uh,
Not Cyberpunk 2077 mess, but
right.
not far from it.
Right. I think that when it comes to the excitement for this, a lot of people had no reason to step up to Intergrade, realistically, because they're just waiting for part two.
Yeah,
So why would they get excited for this mid step? Uh,
yeah, kind of a weird
but
thing.
then the
Yeah.
next day, June 11th, Guilty Gear Strive, an incredible fighting game, so good, and Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart both came out.
Oh yeah, yeah. Wow, and that both though. That's a good day for games.
It is. It's a very good day. Both these games are still being talked about now. Both these games are
Yeah.
being used as an interesting. It's really weird that they both came out on the same day because they're both being used as like a talking point for what tech can be used for in video games.
Yes.
The 2D to 3D intros are so clean in Strive that it's incredible how well they mesh that without like your character model is 3D, but the instant it connects with anything else in the world, it becomes 2D for the sake of that animation and then becomes 3D again seamlessly in Strive. There's your animation doesn't hitch, it doesn't lose it. It is a seamless transition and it looks so good. And then of course in Rift Apart, you have the rifts and how you're able to seamlessly shift around between the world and between different loaded levels without a hitch.
Well, I've seen more than once that games this year, here at the end of the year,
Hmm.
that when they're talked about. How do I put it? They're mentioned with, "Hey, and this is up here with Ratchet and Clank."
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that's how much power that game's kind of got right now. That
Yes.
kind of weight behind it. Is like, hey, in a year where Ratchet and Clank came out, this game is up here considered as well.
Right.
And that's a subtle nod to how good that game is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely still had the staying power to stick around. From there, there's not much else in June. We got Samurai Warriors 5 and Legend of Mana both on 24th. Both games that if you're into that, this is either a remake of an older one that I know you're going to want to play or a new one
Yeah.
in that is going to be very fun for you. But isn't like super crazy mixing everything up. But on the 25th, we got Scarlet Nexus, which was very popular for a couple months, RPG wise.
Yeah.
It kind of fell off as some other stuff came out, but was a very big name for a little while and still winning awards right now.
Well, it is one of those games that are I have found at the bottom of people's top tens lists.
Yes,
That
absolutely.
I've seen it. I believe around eight, like 8 to 6. It staying in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very fun. I like it a lot. I like being able to throw stuff at people. Like I saw a video that described it as the Force, but not having to be in Star Wars.
Yeah.
So like you don't have to like you can just do that in other games too, and I think that's okay. Let me throw stuff at people. Let me throw cars at people. Then the very next week on the 29th, Ender Lilies came out, which again, little small indie title, one of my absolute favorites for the game.
Yeah.
Really, really interesting Metroidvania that has you playing as a child character. And
Yeah.
so your character is going to be a little more clumsy when they dodge. She falls down when you dodge,
Yeah.
You got to be a lot more careful and very easy game in a lot of ways. But also just a really cool game. I like it a lot. It's in my top 10.
Yeah. I think a lot of people just missed that game.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because the people that played it, they had opinions on it, and they were had much to say about it. But I think just a lot of people just missed it because it was a smaller company.
For sure. July, starting with July 9th is the first big release. Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin comes out. This is Monster Hunter's turn-based RPG where you get to ride on the monster's back. And so you don't have to fight the monsters, you can befriend the monsters, and people love that. And this one's very good for that as well. Except you still can't get a Dodogama. And so, we're not there yet. That's all I'm saying. Work on it. We also had, like, Chris Tales and Death's Door released. 2 more big indie games that a lot of people like. Very interesting types of games, but nothing that was super crazy. But on the 21st, Pokemon Unite came out. And was the game for about a month on Twitch. And then just died.
Yeah. Yeah. I did. Yeah. A lot of there's nothing else to really say about that because that's what it did. So it was like something else.
Yep. And that something else was Tribes of Midgard that also came out in July and took over Twitch for a little while and then also just stopped.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is crazy to me because, like, Tribes of Midgard is a really solid game, but it doesn't really have that staying power that I know I keep using that phrase that it really needed, like a Valheim did. Valheim, I should mention, is not on this list because it's still in early access. But by this point, Valheim came out in like March.
Yeah.
And it's not as talked about as it was before because of those late updates that we talked about before. But it is still a game that you will see people streaming. Whereas Tribes of Midgard has kind of fallen off.
It's true.
Going into August, this is where we get the game. The game that Randy Pitchford sold to us. The game that we knew was going to be the first hacking looter slasher. Godfall came out. And was worse than we thought. It was bad. It just dropped and it was gone. No one's talking about it. Nobody's reviewing it. It's over.
Yeah. We had that guy who was excited about Tabula Rasa, too.
Yeah, that's right. On the 11th, August 11th, Boyfriend Dungeon came out. A game that a lot of people were really excited for. A game where you could date your weapons.
Yeah, for 1 week?
Yeah. Then it was gone. Also, the gameplay is not good. Just to be straight with you. And you can date weapons all you want, but if I don't want to swing them, then why would I date them? That's all I'm saying.
I'm not answering that question.
Humankind also came out in August. This was a very big Civ-like. People still like it a lot, but it didn't really combat Civ the way people thought it might. It kind of just
Civilization. Civilization one of those games that has a very dedicated, or it seems to me a very dedicated group of people that play it, and they want that world.
That's right.
That's where they want to be.
That's right. We also had in August a couple other like relatively big releases. 12 Minutes came out, which was a very unique indie game.
Yeah, that was another one that was like, yes.
Yeah.
Actually, that one, that was another one with a build up to it.
Yeah.
And then I was expecting after release that it would be that I would see, some videos, people talking about it. And no, apparently there's a line you can cross. And they did. So
that story hurt a lot of people. That's all I'll say. That story decides to just suddenly take a curve about the midpoint in, and it goes to some places that are very uncomfortable and doesn't handle them with the tact that I think it needed to handle to make it work. And I don't use that word uncomfortable a lot when it comes to stories, I watched Berserk as a child, like I can handle uncomfortable media.
Yeah.
This just doesn't try to handle it the way that I think it should have to make it work.
Right.
But then Psychonauts 2 came out.
Yeah. Good day.
Yeah. And people like that game. And it's still well received now. People still talking about it.
Yeah.
Which is great. We also got the Japanese release of the newest Trails game came out. Which is cool. I didn't play it because I'm waiting for the localization. I'm avoiding spoilers, but That's cool. And then for people that are huge fans of it like me, No More Heroes 3 came out. I haven't touched it yet because I didn't have time. I want to so bad. But there's a new No More Heroes out, and the fans of No More Heroes love it, and people that don't care about No More Heroes don't talk about it.
Don't.
And that's how
Yeah.
it's always been.
With every one of those games, you either understand that game or you don't.
Yep. That's good. I like it that way myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
September brought us Life is Strange True Colors, which has been sweeping a lot of awards. I haven't touched it myself yet, but people really seem to like it.
Yeah.
So
it's still making a lot of buzz.
yes. And the same day it came out, Tales of Arise also came out, which
that
people like.
yeah, that was the talk about it seems to have gone down a little bit.
Yes.
But it's still there.
Yes.
Still has some diehard fans, man.
It's always interesting to me to see a game in a long-running franchise like a Tales game, because when it comes out, people are like, "Oh, this is the best one ever," and then a couple months after, you wait till it dies down and you see where people are putting it.
Yeah.
And that gives you a pretty good idea of like how good is it. And this one's in the upper half for most people. It's still well regarded. Then Deathloop came out. People still talking about Deathloop. People love Deathloop, or they don't like it at all, which is the camp I'm in.
Yeah. And hey, man, they've been very successful with that game.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the only game that studios put out
this year? They put out Prey before that, but this is the last one in a while.
Yeah, makes sense. Prey, yes.
Mm-hmm. Then we got Deltarune Chapter 2. This is the free update to Deltarune, the game that is free, that is like Undertale, made by Toby Fox, the maker of Undertale. If you like Undertale, you're going to like Deltarune. If you like Deltarune Chapter 1, probably going to like Deltarune Chapter 2. I haven't played it yet, but I'm excited to. But it's free, and people still talking about it. So there you go.
Yeah.
Kena Bridge of Spirits came out on the 21st of September.
Mm-hmm.
People really like that game. Haven't played it yet myself, but people still talking about it now. Diablo 2 Resurrected came out on the 23rd.
Ooh, there was some talk about that. This is, and it's kind of unfortunate because from what from here, and look, I love Diablo 2, but I know folks that are much more diehard than me.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, and have been looking forward to this, bought it, and played it, and it's kind of one of those things. Hey, they did some stuff was really good on that.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of complaints on there, and a lot of stuff that people were like, why do you change that?
Yep.
So
people are still talking about it, but not because they like it.
Right. Yeah. They're also talking about the definitive edition of Grand Theft Auto. So
yeah, right. Yeah, we're getting there. Those are coming.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Death Stranding Director's Cut came out on the 24th, and people really seem to like that. I've seen it in multiple top 10s.
Yeah, and but it seems to be in those top 10s that for a lot of it that went through the first game and enjoyed the first game.
Yes.
I
have not seen anybody that hated the first one, hated the first release, liking this one.
Yeah.
It wasn't that big of a change.
It's it's still one of those things. I'm so interested in what he's going for and how far he's taking this.
Kojima's a madman.
Yeah.
Lost Judgment also came out on the 24th. That game did not do as well as the first one, score-wise, but people still seem to like it. I've seen it on a couple top 10s, but it's relatively low on the list, right? But I think that for most people, it's just because it's longer.
Yeah.
And so maybe they just haven't beaten it yet. We'll see how it fares in the court of public opinion over the years.
Right.
Because right now it's in the lower half of games made by that studio, which is unfortunate. On the 28th, New World came out. We talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
It's dead.
I think so. I don't think I have ever seen an MMO, because there's always going to be jerks that try to dupe and cheat, right?
For sure.
So easily.
Yeah.
That merely picking up the screen with your mouse and shaking it gives you invulnerability.
Yeah.
And playing in windowed mode. It's absolutely. It's bad. Absolutely horrible.
We will be using it as a class in years to come.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, what were you thinking? How did you
Yeah.
design this?
Yeah. It is absolutely awful.
The Outer Wilds expansion, Echoes of the Eye, also came out on the 28th. I have not played this yet, but I promise, because I know how long it is, to play this before Game of the Year. Because Outer Wilds was my Game of the year that it came out. And so I have to play this before Game of the Year because I'm very excited for it. And people talk about it really, really well.
Right on, man.
That brings us into October. We're actually almost done with the year already. I know it feels weird. October brought us Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl.
That had man, the splash that was another one kind of, to where it was like there was so much build up to it coming
Yep.
out and then just fizzle. It's kind
Un-
of unsatisfactory nostalgia grab.
yeah. The biggest issue is the gameplay. Some characters are completely OP and aren't balanced at all, and it makes it not fun to play.
Yeah.
Far Cry 6 was right after that on the 7th of October. We've already talked about that.
Yeah. Unfortunate with what they have, what they can do, who they have. That's sad.
Very much so. Metroid Dread was the next day, October 8th. That game has done very
Makes
well,
up
has
for it.
earned tons of rewards.
Yeah. And I like this because people who love Metroid and always have, love it, and it's one of their
True.
favorites.
Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl would be there if we got the full episodes. That's right.
Right. And then newcomers who say, I've never played Metroid before. This game's great.
Start with this one. Don't have to. It's so good.
I finally feel like, Samus is back to where she needs to be as far as who she is.
Yep.
Right.
I agree.
So
it's good to have her back.
Yeah.
It honestly is.
It is. One of the greatest heroes in all gaming history.
Yes.
She deserves props.
I think Metroid Dread is definitely going to be one that's remembered well over the years. And introduces a brand new mechanic to a side-scroller game this way, in a way that is really interesting and well done.
Yeah.
Very, very good. On the 12th was Back for Blood, which we've already talked about. Again, has people playing it, but kind of fizzled out in a lot of ways, as you put it earlier. We kind of had October was weird, where there was a bunch of like re-releases of stuff that came out earlier in the year on new platforms, and that it kind of just kept going until suddenly Guardians of the Galaxy came out.
Yes.
To almost universal acclaim.
Yeah, people were freaking out about that, man.
Mm-hmm. I haven't played it myself, but people really like it.
Yeah. Which is so nice after the Avengers.
Yeah. It's interesting to see it winning a bunch of awards, too, in a couple different websites. So go for it. Well, glad for you.
Once again, and here's the thing, right? With as good as the graphic looks, and they do the comic book characters, not the movie characters.
Absolutely.
The stuff they stick to, what gets brought up and sticks in every good review I read about it is the story.
Yes.
It's not all the game. It's not the gameplay. It's not the the graphics. It's the story.
You tell a good story, and we're there. That's all we need, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, good story. Moving into November, this is where releases really start to kind of slow down. Call of Duty Vanguard came out. And
it did, didn't it?
I think this is the first year that a Call of Duty's come out that I haven't heard people talking about it.
Well, a lot of people are not, and with one, what I've heard, it's not a good game.
Right.
Two, there's people that are they're not going to talk about that because of who puts it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Don't care if you change the name on it. We're not stupid. We know who owns it. We know who owns the IP.
Yeah. From there in November, we got Rune King, as you said earlier, which again, that was one people were so stoked for, and just kind of.
Yeah, but like I said, this is where you talked about when we talked about it earlier, what had kind of overshadowed it.
Yep, Arcane. Arcane.
Yeah, their own thing overshadowed their thing.
Yeah,
so
it's all people care about with Lilies is Arcane.
Yeah.
Then, as we said, Battlefield came out, and so did Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. which it did okay.
That with the people I know who love Pokemon, they talk about it. But anybody
Yeah,
that's like casual Pokemon, I haven't heard nothing.
right. People seem to be more excited for the new stuff with Arceus coming. So
Yeah,
we'll see though. And then going into December, because again, wasn't that much in November. Going into December, we get our last big releases for the year, which starts off really with Endwalker,
yeah.
which people love it so much that they had to stop selling it.
So
Uh,
yeah, they can't advertise. They have stopped
yeah,
their they okay. Not only do they not, you cannot buy the game. Okay, all their advertising budget has been shifted. They are
yeah,
not advertising the game. They refuse to advertise anything that they cannot sell.
right,
So right now, yeah, you won't see. You should not be seeing any commercials for it.
yeah. They actually sent out like an apology because there was still a Twitter ad running.
Yeah,
So they put out a tweet apologizing for the Twitter ad running.
yeah,
Because like, hey, yeah, no, you can't buy it.
yeah.
But that's the big release so far for the month, and then it's kind of just that, and again the re-releases until 2 days from now on the 23rd, when we get our last big release for the year, which is Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires, and I expect it not to do well because of
Not after
Dynasty
Dynasty
Warriors
Warrior.
9.
Yes, yes. Come on.
Yeah.
All right.
I've said it many
Yes.
times. If you ever want to see me slowly die on video, watch that first impressions for Dynasty Warriors 9.
And look, honestly, for me, for Dynasty Warriors, right? You don't have to work that hard
Nope.
for me to be all excited and fan folk out,
Yep.
you know. But oh god. So I don't know. I'm I'm waiting. I'm looking into it because that is something I'm interested in. The Empire
Yeah.
series. I want to see what they do.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I'm sure we'll have some thoughts on that next week because there'll be
Yeah.
reviews for that next week. We'll have reviews next week.
Yes, we'll have
But
reviews next week.
that was the
Uh,
year in 2021 in video gaming.
yeah, kind of running down. Yes, a lot of the big titles. It kind of surprised me because we talked, earlier about the 10 at the beginning that were like, or 10 games that were like they had a lot of murmur and stuff coming into the
Right.
year. And there's quite a few disappointments off that, as there always will
Yeah.
be as you go back and check. But there was a couple that managed to kind of, Resident Evil being probably the best example of meeting expectations. Probably
Absolutely.
going beyond a little bit.
Absolutely.
Have you seen? I'm kind of curious about. There's a new Niantic commercial.
Okay.
It doesn't give really anything. Now, obviously, if I say that, everybody goes Pokemon Go, but they had
Right.
another game that's set up that uses basically the same nodes. It's
Yeah.
a hacker game. Hacker game. This
Ingress.
one, yes. The commercial for it reminds me of that a little bit, but it's
Yeah.
not enough information there. But the company's done, even the problems with Pokemon Go have been a lot from people because people play it
Yes.
and get out and interact.
Right.
But I'm kind of interested in that. It was something I saw today. I meant to mention to you.
For
I
sure.
figured it would twin,
Yeah, I'm interested. I want to
tweak
know
your
more.
interest. Yeah, find out what they're doing. But the teaser trailer for it was very, uh, very vague.
Okay.
But the feel of it made me think of Ingress
Yeah.
from them.
Ingress is a cool idea. I think it's a really interesting game. It just
Hmm.
also has the same problem of I have to physically go somewhere
Yeah,
and do the thing.
yeah. Well, all right.
All right. You have any plugs?
Just for folks watching us. I appreciate y'all staying with us. Appreciate you watching. Took thousands of years and millions of people to make you. There's never been anything like you before, and there never will be again.
That's right.
So be good to yourself.
The
Yes, we
Steam
are
Student
all it.
Winter Sale.
Oh, yeah, I bet they are. They
Yeah.
are.
PS4,
Well,
Sony's doing one. Epic. I should mention too. I know we don't talk about Epic Games that often, but if you're on Epic Games, they're giving away a free game every day for the next 8 days, I think. So
okay.
just
All right.
I found out about it today. It's apparently been going for 7 already. But
About right.
just keep that in mind.
Okay.
But, all right. Well, with all that said, then I have been Trey.
I've been Rungren.
And we've been the Full Spectrum Podcast. Remember to always enjoy the full spectrum that life has to offer.